Hey everybody, how's it going? Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be doing something far different from most of my videos, but basically I just got back from the ANA Summer Seminar, American Numismatic Association. They put on two about a week-long seminars where you learn a ton about coins, meet a lot of great people, but I'm going to do my best to do an unbiased review of the experience. Before we get started, I want to thank the Professional Numismatists Guild. They sponsored my trip, so I wrote an essay, and I ended up being picked for a scholarship, so they covered the entire thing. Just a huge thank you to the Professional Numismatists Guild. I decided, since it's going to be a big trip if you decide to go on it as well, I'm going to be really in-depth and I'll give a bunch of detail. For those of you who are much less interested in learning about the whole trip, if you were thinking about it, I would give it a resounding yes. I really enjoyed it. Obviously there's some negatives, there's a lot of positives, but I'll be going over the entire experience over the next couple of minutes with you guys. In terms of the structure of the video, we're going to first go over the physical location at Colorado College, then we'll talk about the learning opportunities. After that, we'll talk about the social kind of atmosphere, then we'll talk about the schedule, then we'll go over pros and cons, and then anything else that I think is relevant. So, as I mentioned, the ANA Summer Seminar is located at Colorado College in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and the campus is gorgeous. I have to say, I had no idea about Colorado College in terms of what it would look like, but it was absolutely beautiful. There's the Rocky Mountains kind of surrounding the campus. Really great to be on the campus. We stayed in the dorms at Colorado College, which were more than adequate. Really liked them. They had nice services. I stayed in a single. I would recommend that you stay on campus if possible. You're going to be a lot closer to the things that are going on. And then you also get the meals included, as well as access to use their track, which is a great place to run, and then also their gym. But the meals were also quite good. A lot of people say the food is the best that they have all year. Definitely above the average for the college campus cafeterias that I have eaten on. So in terms of the physical location, the only thing is that it is pretty high altitude, so you'll notice the air is definitely a little thinner. If you're running around, you might need to catch your breath a little bit quicker than normal, but I'd really say from the standpoint of how is it going to look in terms of the beauty, it's really great. I didn't get a chance to go to Pikes Peak, or there was this, I think it was called Garden of the Gods, but there's some pretty interesting things. I think the Air Force has a lot of involvement there, so it's a great place to be in terms of location. In terms of the learning environment, that was probably one of the best parts of the camp. There were everything from 3 different levels of grading. I took the most beginner one, and I learned so much. It was such a great experience. I'll talk a little bit about my class, but there were also classes that were on like Indian heads and flying, eagle coins. There was one on the Liberty seated. There was one on, it was like art and intaglio engraving. I think they engraved their own little things. I'm not exactly sure what was going on there. Then there's also hobo nickels. And then also what they did is at night, they would either have night sessions, so a sustained topic exploration, or they would have bull sessions, which is where a person would give an informal chat on a specific topic that they wanted to cover. A little bit about my class, which was US Grading 1, maybe one that people would probably take if they're there for the first time. There's a bunch of ones that are good for beginners, but the class was taught by Rod Gillis, Brian Fenton, and Mike Ellis, so all of them are pretty well respected numismatists. Rod is the head of the education at ANA. Mike Ellis, you probably recognize from the Cherry Picker Guide. He's very involved with errors and varieties, but also a lifelong numismatist, as is Brian Fenton, who's a pretty well-known and respected coin dealer out of Iowa, I believe. But those guys were all teaching. What we would do is we would go into an overview of a specific design, then talk about it, and then individually grade 20 of the coins that they had put together in a set where the grades were hidden. We'd go into a group and then all talk about the grades and why each coin was graded a certain way. I definitely learned just way more than I thought I was going to. We also talked about the minting process, how some errors are made, and different strikes to look for, and then just a bunch of different varying topics within numismatics that I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but you'll learn and come away from the week with just so much more than you started. Coins that we focused on, we did a series of $20 gold double eagles. We did copper Lincoln cents. For nickels, we did buffalo nickels and V nickels. And then for silver, we did Morgan dollars, peace dollars, walking liberty half dollars, standing liberty quarters, and mercury dimes. But that could vary based on the week or session that you choose to attend. And then there was also a different grading class that did a little bit of a different approach for the US grading one, so there will obviously be a varied experience, but I think everybody that I talked to in all the classes said that they were enjoying it. Did not hear one single person say that they did not like the classes that they were in, so I think it was really positive in that aspect. And I've been doing this off of notes, but I was just looking at them, and one thing is that the instructors here, I forgot to mention, like, it's not like they know a lot about coins, it's almost as though they know everything, and they'd be the first ones to tell you that they don't, but these guys really have just an enormous breadth of instruction. So if you have any questions, you're encouraged to constantly be asking them, and that's something that you can do, which I took advantage of and learned a lot from. So in terms of the social environment, the camp really blew me away. I was a little bit nervous going in because it's like coin camp. Shouldn't say that, but you don't know what you should be expecting going into something like that. And the people were really, really great, whether that was being really socially outgoing and active and really easy to get along with, or somebody who was quieter but just really liked coins and was kind. I didn't really have any problems with anybody there. A lot of really fun people and people that I actually plan on meeting up with at coin shows in the future. So from that aspect, that was a big thing going in. Wasn't sure how it would pan out. I think unless you really dislike other people in general, that would be, from that perspective, a great aspect of the trip as well. People are open to talking. They want to make friends. They're there to enjoy, and it's really easy to do that. Before I just do a little bit of some random thoughts, I'll go into the pros and cons. We'll start with the cons. So I would say that the camp is not for people who would have a really difficult time with high altitude. That's something that you do just want to be careful of. It's also not for people who don't really care about coins, because the thing is, you're going to be there for about 5 days of classes of 6 hours a day at the least, so you do want to be caring enough about coins where you'll be excited to do that. Speaking of that 6 hour, if you really can't focus, I think it could still be fun, but that would just be something to be aware of, because it's 2-3 hour blocks, so it's a long time of learning. And then the last one is somebody who's super beginner with coins, because I'd say that I was definitely not one of the ones who knew a ton about coins compared. I had no real dealing aspect. I work in a coin shop, but it's a little bit different in terms of the grading coins, and the people there are really advanced, so I felt like other people knew a lot more than I did. And it's fun, you can go totally if you don't know anything about coins, but I think that it's helpful to come in, at least prepare so that you know a good amount of things. Like, I wouldn't just go because you see this video on a whim and have no idea about coins. Then it could be a little bit too much, if that makes sense. But for anybody who's been involved with coins, even for a little bit of time, and has read up and knows a little bit, then it'll be great. It's just, I wouldn't do it if you have no experience whatsoever prior with coins. In terms of some of the pros or types of people who should go, if you really care about coins, I would definitely take it up. If you want to learn a ton in a short amount of time, I would definitely go. If you want to make friends through coins and the coin community, or get some contacts with some serious dealers, or if you're thinking about becoming a dealer yourself, I think it could be very helpful. Also, one of the things is you can meet some pretty notable numismatists. Some of them for me were Mike Ellis, my teacher, who is involved with the Cherry Picker's Guide, Don Kagan. I wrote in my college essay to Northwestern, which I didn't end up submitting. I wrote about how he had the first, I think it was BA in numismatics. Then I also met Ken Brissett, who did the Red Book on back here. That is my first coin book that I was really ever given, and I got a newer one signed by him that I brought back with me, which is really cool. But the concentration of pretty well-known numismatists was impressive, so that was definitely something that was really fun for me as somebody who's been involved with the numismatic community, to make some contact and meet these people, outside of friends, but people who I just look up to in the hobby. And then in terms of the actual schedule and things to look forward to, so everybody gets in, most people fly into Colorado Springs, there's shuttles back and forth through the day and when you leave. Then you get in, there's a hall that people kind of hang out in until the opening ceremony starts, where it's just a bunch of kind of addresses and they get ready for the seminar classes. Again, 3 hour blocks twice a day for your duration there. We'll start the next day. And some things to look forward to: there's a young numismatist sponsor an auction that goes to benefit the young numismatists, because the ANA does a bunch of outreach and education. And there was one great coin that sold for $5,000, and then there's the Eric P. Newman. I think they have a matching fund. So over $25,000 were raised for young numismatists. I'm 18, 17 and under is considered a YN, but they do the auction, which is a fun time. I think the first night they also do some sort of a book sale, which was fun. I got some pretty obscure books, but there's books that are very difficult to find in other places that are available for very reasonable prices at that sale. In terms of things to do, so I said there was that Pikes Peak and the Garden of the Gods, but there's coin-related stuff. The day after I left, there was a coin show that a lot of people went to, and then also I think there's a Ken Hallenbach coin or Hallenbach Rare Coin Gallery, something like that. I went there. It's a friendly coin shop that's pretty local, and then there's a lot of people selling coins just informally throughout the camp. At the end of everything, we had a really fun banquet. We ate food, all hung out in one main hall, and kind of concluded the ceremonies, flew back, and a couple days later, I'm here filming this video, encouraging everybody to go. Now, before I wrap up, just a couple of quick tips if you plan on going. So the first is that I would apply for scholarships. There's a fair amount of them available. They're not a ton, but it's reasonable to get one, and that can really alleviate a bunch of costs because you do have to fly there and stay there. I think it's over about $1,000 is the total cost of the trip. It might be significantly more based on your flying schedule. Another thing is, do not be afraid to introduce yourself. Again, people really want to meet new people. You know, I met a bunch of awesome guys and girls that I'll be staying in contact with and just continuing to share the hobby with. So people are really open to that there. And lastly, just I would really consider going if you have the free time and it's something that you'd like to do and you want to learn a lot about coins. I would say don't hold back. You'll learn so much. I think it'll be a really fun time. You know, the last thing I'd want is for somebody to then go and then have a bad time because they saw my video and they thought it was going to be great, but I really did enjoy it. And for anybody who really takes the coins seriously, definitely think about including that in your summer plans in the future. Thanks for watching the video. If you haven't already, I'd encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay in contact with me on my Instagram, TreasureTownYT, Facebook, TreasureTown, or my website, TreasureTownYT.com. And I love receiving packages from you guys. I'll unbox them in a video once I get enough, and my address for that is TreasureTown, P.O. Box 201, Greenwich, Connecticut, 06836. So I'll see you on some of my other videos.